Have you ever wondered if you have what it takes to parent your child? Well, today we're going to talk about it on another episode of Thriving Special Families. I'm your host, Crystal Sanford, and I'm so happy to be here with my special guest, Jamie. Hi, Jamie.
Hi,
Hi,
Chris.
Chris. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited. I've been looking forward to this.
Yes, awesome. So, our topic today is discovering your unlikely guru. And Jamie's going to tell us what that's all about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So families always know that the information that is shared is for your informational purposes only. If you are in need of medical or legal advice, please do contact a professional in that area. Also, if you're watching us live, welcome. Please feel free to leave your comments in the comment section, and we'll do our best to answer those along the way. And parents, if you're listening to our podcast, then also welcome again to Thriving Special Families. So, Jamie is our special guest today. Jamie is an early intervention speech pathologist, and she's been doing that for over 18 years. She's also an instructor of neuroscience and communication. Jamie is also a mom of two boys, and she is a mindful parenting blogger. And Jamie is an expert at helping parents to discover their unlikely guru. So I'm not going to say any more because I want to hear so much about what you have to share with us, Jamie. Please just kind of get us started and let us know what led you in your journey in becoming a parent advocate and a blogger, and sharing what you have today.
Great. Well, thank you for that wonderful intro. I am really excited to be here. As you said, I've been an SLP for 18 years. I've been working in early intervention for all 18 of those years. And on a daily basis, I do multidisciplinary evaluations here and take students into a new program, our program, often as the first line of being diagnosed with autism spectrum or another developmental disability. And I say this because I want to tell you that in my job, I see tons of gurus, tons of unlikely gurus. And that is sort of where my website and my online community grew from. I've been doing this SLP job for a really long time, and I think I've made a difference in a lot of families' lives. But nothing is sweeter than when you have a connection with a family, right? When you actually have a connection and you grow just as much as the student does. And so the more I started to lean into that, the more I decided, wow, I'm becoming a new person when I lean in and learn from my families and learn from them how to really become more confident and become more worthy of being in relationship with them. So that's sort of where I came to this. I decided that I wanted to reach families from a different level, from a different place, and really empower them.
That's so valuable, Jamie. We connected, of course, because I'm a speech pathologist as well. I've worked in a variety of settings, and I really honor you for, getting in one environment and really staying there and really owning that environment, learning so much to share with families, but then also find that there's value in learning and growing from the experience with your families, right? I think parents, especially early on, can feel very incompetent, afraid. They got all the feelings early on, and you have a space to impact them positively as they're just beginning their journey. So that's really a powerful space that you're in.
Yeah, the amount of resilience and strength and just all the emotions that I get to experience with families just coming into our program, I learn from them. I learn from that. And, I can help them get their kid to communicate. I've been doing that for a long time, and I know the skills to do that. But what I want to do is teach parents how important their well-being is. It's their first line of defense in this whole process, and I really want to encourage that. I want parents to know their perspective and their well-being and their mindset means everything. Really, their confidence and sort of self-worth is the greatest form of advocacy for their kids.
Wow, that I think some parents are going to listen to that and think that's really hard to believe. I think that they don't value enough what they're bringing to the table.
Yeah,
Um, and unfortunately, a lot of that is systemic. It's just because of,
absolutely.
how systems are set up. They're set up where the parent comes in, they bring in their child, and then they, you know, hand the child over to these experts who are now going to fix the child and make things, better as much as possible. And that really should not be how the system, is run.
Absolutely. And that speaks to another point too, just systemically, and also just as moms, right? We think our job is to just support everybody else and put our own needs to the wayside, to the back burner. And what I'm finding more and more, both as my role as mom and my role as speech pathologist, is that it's incumbent upon us to strengthen our own self-esteem and own worth, and that makes all the difference in our families.
That's so true. That's so true. That mom space, or we can really get in our heads as moms. Like you
Right?
said, use all of that we have within us to pour out to someone else, and then what's left for us is not a lot. So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
that's great. So again, if you're just joining us, welcome again to another episode of Thriving Special Families. Our topic today is discovering your unlikely guru, and we have the pleasure of having our special guest, Jaime. And Jaime, I don't want to mispronounce your name, so tell me how to pronounce your last name.
Mazza.
Mazza. So Jaime Mazza, who is our expert here in this area. And again, if you have questions, feel free to add those to the comment section. We'll do our best to answer those as we go along today. And then also know that our show is always sponsored by Sanford Autism Consulting, offering you IEP advocacy support. Always contact us at sdautismhelp.com for resources and for the help that you need for your child's education. So again, Jaime, tell us what it means to you to be the unlikely guru. Maybe some parents are not familiar with that terminology.
Yeah. So, I think that to me, what it means to be an unlikely guru is that you are the person in your family who is understanding how to run your family. I think that what it means to me to be an unlikely guru is finding that you have the strength and the confidence to hold space for your family. I think I could talk a little bit about how I found myself in this position, as someone who I'm a mom of a 14-year-old and a 9-year-old. And I have also been a speech pathologist for, like I said, 18 years. And I started to get this bug that I needed to do something a little bit more with my career in speech pathology. And I wanted to work with families in a new way. And it took some confidence and it took some searching to decide that this is something that I wanted to pursue, in much the same way when you're given a diagnosis of autism spectrum or another developmental disability. Parents have to do some soul searching, right? They have to do some soul searching to determine if they're going to accept the way things are and the new expectations for the life they're living, and kind of go out on a limb and find some confidence in that. And I think that for me is what it means to be an unlikely guru, that you don't need to search outside of yourself, outside of your home to find confidence. You can find it within. And that takes form in so many different ways, but it makes all the difference in the world for your family.
Wonderful. Wow. Well, what would you say to the parent who would say, I hear what you're saying, Jaime, but I've been looking inside and I don't have it. I just, this
I
autism
get it.
thing,
Yeah.
or Down syndrome, ADHD, whatever, it's
Yeah.
not in my wheelhouse. It's not what I was expecting for my kiddo. I've been there. I'm a special needs parent myself, as much as a speech pathologist and an advocate. My kiddo
Yeah.
was diagnosed at 3.5. And so I had to, like you said, I had to dig real deep to switch gears from being the professional to now parenting that child. And I had to realize, do I have what's inside? Well, I have what's inside to do it for other people's kids. Now I've got to do it for me. So,
Absolutely.
what do you say to that parent that feels like they don't have what it takes to be their child's guru?
I understand that. And I see families a lot in my practice at work who aren't ready to take that role. But I think what I want to empower parents to understand is that being a guru, your own unlikely guru, doesn't mean you're perfect. Doesn't mean you have it all figured out. I certainly don't have it all figured out. I question on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, if I'm doing it the right way, if I've got it all figured out, or if I'm being the best version of myself for my kids. But at the same time, what it means to be an unlikely guru for your family is that you have enough confidence to know you don't have it all figured out, but you're going to sit in the space and accept it and work towards being the best version of you for your family. I think there's too often that we sit in a space where we get overwhelmed and we get closed-minded. My son actually has a unilateral hearing loss, the older one. He's 14.
Okay.
And, this impacts him. This impacts him on a daily basis. It impacts his sensory system. And he is, we were just at the orthodontist, and he needs to get braces. And his mouth is highly sensitive. Like, it's going to be a process. And so I kind of used leaning into my unlikely guru to recognize that he doesn't want braces. He needs braces.
Okay.
We need to put this on the back burner for right now. It's summer. We just went through a really challenging school year. And I can recognize that this is a priority, but it can't take up our life right now. We don't have anything to give right this very moment on this subject. So you know what I did? Put it on the back burner. And I don't feel the guilt of missing an appointment or canceling an appointment. That's what it means to me to be an unlikely guru, saying, you know what, I know what our family needs right now, and we need to go to the beach, and we need to have fun, and we need to be with one another, and we will revisit the more difficult topics when our space allows for that kind of thing.
That's a great example. I have to say that because what most parents would have felt, and especially moms, right, we would have felt, oh, okay, my kid needs to have braces. Let's do it tomorrow. Let's get them on the schedule. And we would have not even considered all the other things that are going on in our families' lives, adding another layer, right? Maybe that's not at the right time. So that's a great example of knowing your family, really being is it the thermostat, right? Or
the gauge, right?
Gauge,
exactly.
That was a great example. Great example.
Thanks. I feel like that is the piece that when I lean into that, both as a speech pathologist at seeing clients and with my own kids, with my husband, with friends even, when you're not trying to necessarily fix the situation just to make it all go away, and you just kind of give yourself some of that extra space to kind of lean in and say, well, geez, what would make the most sense for us right at this very moment? For years, I struggled with that guilt, the mom guilt, constant mom guilt. I forget something. Oh, I failed at that. That's a mom fail. I want to rewrite that narrative because I don't think that there are mom fails. We're doing the best we can.
Yeah, that's so good. Especially like you said, right now, we've just come out of such a tumultuous time, and we're still, to some degree, kind of in that space. It's really, I feel like right now, we are in a place of even more uncertainty.
Yeah.
I felt like when we were in the midst of COVID being such a big issue in our country, we kind of found a way to make sense of that. We just knew that this is what we were dealing with. But now we're kind of like, is it coming back? Is it more of a thing? Are we going,
Exactly.
So even more so, I feel like it's a time where there's more uncertainty. And so, being able to lean on knowing what's best for our families, really what works for us, and trusting your gut and trusting your intuition. I think
Yeah.
there's really some value in that. I tell families all the time, when you're dealing with your child's IEP or IEP team, special education,
Hmm.
I tell them to do two things: trust your gut and ask questions.
Absolutely.
If you can do those two things, I think, you'll make some good
Absolutely.
progress.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think trusting your gut is really hard. It's
Mm,
hard to hear your gut.
mm,
I've worked really, really hard in the last few years on actually listening to my intuition,
mm,
saying, geez, was that my intuition? Is that my ego telling me I have to
mm.
do something versus
Uh-huh.
is that my intuition?
Yeah.
Or is that just me being afraid? So you
Mm,
really have to work um, really hard at starting to recognize those
mhm.
little voices inside. And, I have, to me, I think one of the things that you need to do in order to find your unlikely guru is start to love yourself more and start to put as much time into your own relationship with yourself
Mhm.
as you have a relationship with your family or with your spouse or with your friends. I mean, it's almost like when you fall in love, you spend all this time getting to know someone and what makes them tick and what makes you tick with them. But we don't do that for ourselves nearly enough. We don't learn the types of things that really make us feel good and what we really enjoy, and I think that that's a really, really important first step in starting to listen to your intuition and find out what is going on deep inside. All those things that spiritual teachers sort of practice and encourage, a little meditation or
Mm,
spending some more time by yourself. I know as moms, we don't have the time to dedicate hours to be alone or meditate or, but even 10 minutes makes all the difference in the world. Do you find that, Crystal, even as a mom, just giving yourself a little bit of time to do what lights you up really
yeah.
makes all the difference?
Oh my gosh, yes. And I kind of teeter totter around that because I know it and I just have to remember to actually do it. But when I have just taken that 10 minutes, like you said, sometimes I'll just take 10 minutes and just
Yeah,
go outside and sit in the backyard,
absolutely.
without the phone or computer or kids or anything. And
Yes.
it's therapeutic, I must say.
And
Yeah,
I always say to parents or moms mostly, don't go with your phone. You're absolutely
yes.
right. And
Uh-huh.
decide what you're going to do for those 10 minutes. Because if you don't decide before you leave, you're going to be thinking about the laundry, you're going to be thinking about the grocery
Yeah,
shopping,
yeah,
or you're going to just start scrolling Instagram. And then that's not a break from your
yeah.
mind. That's just more information coming in. So
Mhm,
finding a way to center yourself and ground yourself
mhm.
so that when life gets complicated, you have a place to go back to, I think is so important.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. And I was going to ask about some practical tips. So thank you. That is one of them,
Yeah.
getting some space by yourself. Like you said,
Yep.
some meditation, doing
Yeah.
something that brings you joy as a person. Um,
Person.
yeah, first, because we're actually people. It's
Yeah.
so funny. There's a song, you have kids, that are under 10 still. And so there's this kids station we listen to, and there's this song, and the song is about a mom who can't remember another mom's name,
Hmm.
and so she runs to her husband and she's like, "Oh my God, here comes that lady. I don't know what her name is. What's her name?" And so in the song, she's like, trying to figure it out, and she's like, finally figures it out. She is a human. She's a person. I remember. She's got a name because
Right.
it's so and so's mom, or
Mom.
Jennifer's mom. No, Jennifer's mom has a name. And so
Yeah.
my kids laugh at it. They're like, "Of course she's a human. We're all humans." And I'm like, "You don't get it. You do not get
You
it.
will
You
someday, but
will one day get it." Where you are
no.
so absorbed in the lives of everybody else that sometimes you forget yourself. You
And
really forget yourself.
often, I
Yeah.
would argue, actually, often
Yeah.
we would, we lose ourselves in
Yes.
that's not to say that when you become more self-sufficient and more self-aware, you stop being advocates for your family. So I always worry that almost sounds like the direction I'm going, but it's such the opposite, because then you know yourself so well that you can do it with more expertise, actually. You know what you're looking for to get out of a meeting, an IEP meeting, or an encounter with a teacher. I even have an example. I had a student this week that I've been seeing, a preschool boy who's also on the spectrum. I've been working with him for years, and I saw in sort of real time how my ability to kind of sit and follow his lead has changed. I've always had that principle as a speech pathologist of following a child's lead. And that's a real strong one that I think most people come out of grad school really feeling comfortable with. But
especially the little ones.
Exactly, especially the little ones, because their mind wanders so quickly. You're like, oh, we're doing this. No, we're doing it. We're doing it. So I'm comfortable with that principle, and I've been doing that principle for years. But what I now see is that I had a story behind all of his interests. Like, this is the one he should be doing because that's more functional, and that's what little boys play with. Or this is the one he should be doing because that's going to maximize on his language. And I found that I'm literally sitting and leaning into their interest in a way that allows them to be like, oh, you're going to let me do what I want. And like, I'm respectful of that in a new way, now that I'm kind of more accepting and recognizing that everybody's different and they can have their own way of looking at the world. And I'll lean into that. And from there, we can get so much more accomplished, so much more language. And I think the reason I'm able to do that now is because I can see what makes me tick. And if I know what makes me tick, I'm that much more astute at knowing what makes you tick.
Wow. Okay. There you go. That's like summarizes the whole conversation right there. I love it. Yeah. If you can get in touch with yourself, know who you are, get a comfortable space for that. And that's going to free you up to be able, to even better support those around you, I think.
Exactly.
So let me know, Jamie, what are your thoughts as parents are saying, okay, I'm hearing what Jamie's saying, discover maybe I am the unlikely guru for my family. Okay, maybe I've got it. Maybe I can be that person. How can they use that as they are navigating life as, in IEP meetings or with early intervention, teachers, therapists? How do they use that?
Well, I really think that being a special needs parent is a superpower. I mean, it's taking family responsibility to a whole nother level. You know what I mean? And I think discovering your unlikely guru inside is a form of freedom and empowerment that you might not have already recognized within yourself. I think you're right that especially the families I see, they're still so new to this whole experience, and they are convinced that we are the experts and they can learn everything from us. And they can. We have been doing this for a long time and we have a lot of knowledge to impart, but no one knows your child better than you do. No one knows what is or what your life is like better than you do. And so when you come from that perspective, it's quite empowering. It's really quite empowering, and it gives you the confidence to know you don't have it all right and you don't know it all, and you're willing to learn from everybody that you can. But you're more absorbent to new information because you're coming from a place of empowerment rather than behind the eight ball from a place of lack.
Wow. That's great. This is, I could see this being so valuable. And it just brings me back to a conversation I had with some parents this weekend. And this mom was saying how, because we're advocating in her case, and she was saying how she always makes sure to say, I'm just a mom, when she's in an IEP meeting. I don't have a degree or whatever, but this is just what I want to say. And I said, you know what? You should never have to say that. You should never have to justify yourself before
Absolutely.
you have to share, what you're thinking at a meeting. Why is the
100.
system set up that way? It should not be. And I told her the same thing you just said. I said, you have a PhD in, your child.
Absolutely.
You may not have a PhD in whatever these people at the table have, but
Hmm.
you know your child best and you know
Hmm.
your family best. And so I always want you to share with confidence whatever it is that you want to say about your kiddo. So I could see parents, I could see that helping to bring some more calm, like you said, and confidence to parents
Hmm.
as they have to interact with therapists and teachers and all these different people.
Absolutely. And there's a little bit of a selfish component too, because that student I was just talking to you about,
Mhm,
we had a good session and I was glowing for
mhm,
days after that
mhm.
session. So it's not just that it's all about the student. Of course, it is about the
Sure.
student, but you get something out of it when you feel you're contributing in a
Yeah.
way that's empowering,
Mhm,
So even as a parent, my son, like I said, has a hearing loss, and I've been to many meetings where I felt I was just sitting there and they were spewing information to me, and then I left and I was, oh my goodness, that's a lot of information.
yeah.
As a special ed person who holds meetings all the time,
Right, right.
I felt that.
Mhm.
So, I just there's a piece of it that really is almost selfish in that I feel more a part of the process when I'm confident and recognizing how important my role is in the whole process.
Wow, that's really good. So parents, if you're listening, as
Mhm.
you're listening, I hope that you have taken away some key tips from our conversation here with Jaime Mazza as we're discussing discovering your unlikely guru. And Jaime is very articulate and really has a really a strength in sharing that parents, you are the unlikely guru. You do have what it takes if you trust your intuition, trust your gut, you do know what it takes to help navigate and help your child become the most successful that they can be, and whatever that looks like. Um,
Absolutely. And we'll handle the logistics, The
mhm.
logistics get done. It's that part that really guides the ship, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. That's beautiful. So, Jaime, as parents are listening and taking some takeaways here, taking some time for themselves, getting some meditation, kind of getting in touch with themselves as they are powering up to be able to be more confident as they
Mhm.
navigate with their families, how can they connect with you and learn more about what you're sharing?
Yeah, well, I have an Instagram account, the_unlikely guru. So I post a lot on that. I also have a website, www.theunlikelyguru.com. I do a lot of blogging and I try to update as often as possible. Um, and that's a great way to kind of hop on and kind of get some information from me there. And my email is on the blog as well. I do work with some clients outside of my day job in the evening hours, and I take some coaching clients. So if you're interested in that, I'm definitely interested as well. So, message me or email me and we can connect.
Awesome. And let us know your email, Jaime.
Okay. I'm going to just, I need to actually, I'm going to put it up in a little bit.
Okay.
I actually don't know. I think it's Jamie_the_unlikely_guru at Gmail, but I'll need to confirm that.
Okay, for sure. So we'll get that out to you, parents. We'll get it, but I'll also definitely check out Jamie's website.
Right.
And
Best way to do it.
best way to do it. Yeah, check out the website. She is taking some clients, and she is really just out there now helping families in this new way, helping to empower families along your journey. And so it's just an honor. We're so happy to have had you here today on our show.
Crystal, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun and really felt great. I loved it.
Good.
Thank
Oh,
you.
good. Thank you. And families, if you have any other questions, feel free to check out Jaime. If you are in need of IEP advocacy support, if you have questions, we also have a free IEP guide. You can find all of those things at sdautismhelp.com. So again, thanks for joining us for another episode of Thriving Special Families. Always remember, families, you're going to be okay and your child is going to be okay too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.